London was for you. We're in a restaurant taking pictures. My boyfriend hits me up and he's like, yo, who's taking a picture? Who's that third menu for on the table? I said, oh shit, Yandy. He's gonna think I'm cheating on him. He thinks I'm here with somebody. Bitch, and all along we was there with you and your nigga that you was fucking. We went to London so you could fuck your nigga, your side nigga. Bitch, you didn't go there for me. I'm like, Yandy, please, I gotta tell him. Don't tell him nothing. I don't want him in my business.
The streets of Atlanta had seen scandals, fights, and feuds before, but nothing could prepare the fans for the storm building around Yandy Smith and her husband Mendeecees Harris. For years, Yandy had been praised as a loyal wife, the woman who held her marriage together, while whispers of her husband's infidelities circulated through gossip blogs and reunion stages. She was celebrated as the one who endured, who defended her man no matter how messy the accusations became. She wore the crown of loyalty, the title of ride or die, the woman who never let the outside world see her cracks. But this time, the whispers were not about Mendeecees, they were about her. And when the first trace of truth slipped out, the entire love and hip-hop community froze in disbelief. It didn't come from a stranger. It didn't come from a messy blogger chasing clout. The betrayal came from someone Yandy trusted as family, her longtime best friend and hairstylist. Bryant Jameson. His rant didn't just surface, it exploded across social media like a grenade. The shaky camera footage captured him with tears in his eyes and anger in his voice, venting about a London trip that had been disguised as a celebration, but turned into humiliation. According to Bryant, Yandy dragged him overseas using the cover of his milestone to hide her own secret agenda. While he stayed behind hotel doors, he claimed he could hear the walls shake, accused of cheating on his own boyfriend, while in truth, he was covering for Yandy's clandestine meetings. His voice cracked as he called her selfish, ungrateful, and cheap. And when he spat out the word wicked, fans replayed the clip again and again. The internet dissected his every word and the fallout was instant. What made the betrayal even deeper was that Bryant wasn't just her stylist, he had been her confidant. The one who listened to her secrets while touching up her hair. The one who defended her when whispers got too loud. The one who shielded her through storm after storm. For him to break, to spill such raw pain on camera, meant something inside him had snapped. And fans couldn't look away. To many, his words didn't feel like gossip, they felt like vengeance. At first, some thought it was just a bitter ex-friend lashing out. But then came the twist that transformed the drama into undeniable scandal. The man at the center of it all, the alleged London lover, stepped out of the shadows. His name was Michael, a fitness trainer with no hunger for fame, no thirst for spotlight. Yet instead of denying Bryant's story, he confirmed it in a Instagram story that lasted less than 30 seconds. He admitted he had been involved with Yandy, and not just once. He called it a period of time, accepted his part in it, and ended his confession with a simple line, respectfully. Let's all move on. His calmness struck harder than Bryant's rage. If Bryant's rant was a thunderstorm, Michael's confession was lightning quick, sharp, and impossible to ignore. The receipts suddenly lined up, the accusations, the tears, the screenshots. And now the man himself acknowledging the bond. With Bryant's rage and Michael's calm truth sitting side by side, the spotlight shifted brutally to Yandy. For years, she had danced around rumors, protected her marriage, and defended her family image. But now, she had nowhere to hide. And then came the moment that silenced the room, on Love and Hip Hop. With cameras rolling and cast members holding their breath, Yandy admitted it. Her voice trembled, her eyes welled with tears, but the words slipped out with undeniable clarity. She had formed an emotional bond with someone outside her marriage. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It wasn't just Bryant's tears or Michael's confession. It was Yandy's own truth. The silence that followed was suffocating. The audience gasped. The cast froze in their seats. Even fans at home described chills running through their bodies as they replayed the clip. For the first time, the woman known as the loyal wife was the one confessing betrayal. Across from her, Mendeecees Harris leaned back in his chair, his face expressionless at first, his jaw clenched as if he were holding back a storm. Then, in a low and controlled voice that shook the room more than any shouting ever could, he delivered the line that cut deeper than a knife. That's worse than cheating. The weight of those 4 words crushed the air out of the studio. It wasn't anger shouted in chaos, it was cold, steady, and dripping with humiliation. Fans gasped online, castmates exchanged stunned glances, and the tension spread like wildfire through the reunion hall. For the first time in years, the man who had been dragged through scandal after scandal wasn't the one on trial. He was the one wounded. But as jaws dropped and hearts broke, one question echoed through every comment section, every podcast, and every Twitter thread. How could a man with years of cheating rumors and accusations have the audacity to call his wife's slip worse than cheating? The double standard screamed louder than the confession itself. And that's where
that ain't been us. We've never said that's who we are. But I think that we've shown throughout the years that we are two people trying to fight to stay together. From back when he was locked up, we was fighting to stay together. When we came out here to Atlanta and I wanted to still be in New York, we was fighting to stay together. Through the voice notes, we was fighting. Through this stuff with my friend, we fighting. We fighting.
And that's where the war truly began. The fallout from Yandy's tearful confession didn't stay inside the studio. It spilled out like fire into the blogs, podcasts, and Twitter. Threads that never sleep. Screenshots of Brian Jameson's tear-soaked rant were played on every gossip page. His voice shaking as he talked about hotel walls and betrayal. His tears as he called Yandy wicked, his claim that she didn't even book him his own room. It all became viral content. Fans argued back and forth. Some said he was clout chasing. Others said his pain was too raw to be fake. But when Michael, the fitness trainer, admitted publicly to his involvement, the debate shifted forever. This wasn't speculation anymore. It had happened. Now the question wasn't did Yandy cheat? It was how deep did it go? And how long has she been hiding it? Mendeecees Harris, meanwhile, wasn't hiding his anger. He wasn't standing beside his wife. He was feeding the storm instead of protecting her image. He began moving in calculated ways, letting the world know that for him, Yandy's betrayal wasn't forgivable. The blogs ate it up, writing headlines about Mendeecees finally having the upper hand after years of defending himself against his own scandals, and right on cue. Whispers about him being spotted with Tamara Braxton gained traction. Insiders swore they had seen the two of them tucked into booths of V12 Lounge, leaning too close for comfort, their faces lit by neon lights as they whispered in corners. To some, Tamara was a rebound who got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. To others, she was a chess piece in a revenge game. The irony wasn't lost on fans. For years, Yandy had endured humiliation as woman after woman accused Mendeecees of creeping. Tasha K claimed she had audio proof of his infidelity. Jasmine Blue insisted she had receipts of his late-night behavior. Sierra Gates swore she had seen him with a married woman named Angie, and hinted at photos. Alexis Sky laughed on IG Live about how he was bored with Yandy and entertaining everything else. The list was long, loud, and messy, and through it all, Yandy defended him. She smiled through interviews, raised their children, and carried herself as a picture of loyalty. But the moment she admitted to an emotional bond outside her marriage, Mendeecees flipped the script and declared her unworthy. The hypocrisy was allowed to ignore. Social media exploded with debates about double standards, loyalty, and the messy rules of modern relationships. Some fans wrote, "He's mad because she played his own game better than him." Others fired back, "Cheating is cheating, she's no different." Hashtags like hashtag double standard ATL and hashtag loyalty war began trending as Atlanta became ground zero for one of the most divisive scandals the franchise had ever seen. And while the fans argued, Brian Jameson wasn't finished. Fueled by the attention, he dropped more videos. His voice was sharper this time, his words dripping with bitterness. He accused Yandy of wrecking his relationship by refusing to clear his name, leaving his boyfriend to believe he was the one sneaking around. He mocked her, called her manipulative and condescending, even went as far as ridiculing her appearance. Some viewers pitied him. Others thought he was dragging it too far. But no one could deny that his anger kept the story alive. Then came the receipts that made it impossible to dismiss him. Brian posted photos from the London hotel, tagged Michael, and forced him to speak again. The pressure was unbearable. Michael broke his silence with another calm message, admitting the relationship wasn't a one-time mistake but stretched over a period of time. While he tried to keep it respectful, his words drove the final nail into Yandy's image as the untouchable loyal wife. Behind the scenes, producers were salivating. Reality TV thrives on betrayal, and this storyline had every ingredient. A woman known for loyalty caught slipping, a husband with a history of cheating suddenly cast as a victim, a bitter best friend airing secrets like wildfire, and now a superstar like Tamara Braxton tangled into the chaos. Cameras rolled tighter, edits sharpened, and insiders whispered that the upcoming reunion would be one of the most explosive in the show's history. Meanwhile, the tension inside Yandy and Mendeecees' home was unbearable. Insiders claimed Mendeecees wasn't just angry, he was cold. The man who once relied on Yandy's strength was now turning silence into punishment. He wanted her to feel the humiliation he had never allowed himself to feel. By parading around with Tamara, whether it was a rebound or a genuine connection, he was ensuring the world knew he wouldn't forgive or forget. The cruelest part, Tamara herself was struggling with one of the most traumatic moments of her life. She had woken up covered in blood, missing teeth with broken bones after a night out, asking fans for prayers, and yet, instead of space to heal, her name was being dragged through this loyalty war. Branded as a revenge rebound, to some, it was cruel exploitation. To others, it was just another messy chapter in Atlanta's never-ending reality saga. By this point, what began as whispers about a London affair had spiraled into a full-blown loyalty war. Bloggers demanded to know if Mendeecees even had the right to be outraged. Fans asked whether Yandy had wasted her best years defending a man who never truly defended her, and castmates sat quietly, waiting for their chance to pick sides when the cameras demanded. Because now, this wasn't about love anymore. It was about pride, revenge, and survival under the spotlight, and the war was only just getting started. By the time the scandal reached its third wave, Yandy Smith and Mendeecees Harris were no longer just a merry couple caught in whispers. They had become the centerpiece of Atlanta's messiest saga. The blogs couldn't get enough, the podcast churned out hot takes. Fans on Twitter turned into investigators, replaying clips, dissecting captions, and building timelines. What had started as a whispered London affair now stood as the ultimate test of loyalty, revenge, and survival under the glare of reality TV. And the reunion stage was where it all came to a head from the very first second. The tension on set was unbearable. Fans could feel it through the screen, castmates sitting stiff, producers whispering nervously, the audience bracing for an eruption. Yandy, dressed in her signature elegance but visibly weighed down by the storm, sat across from Mendeecees, whose silence had transformed into a weapon. It wasn't just about what was being said anymore, it was about everything left unsaid. The air was thick with unspoken words, and when the first castmate muttered under their breath, the silence shattered. Erica Mina, always a fire starter, lit the match. She leaned forward and demanded to know how Mendeecees could sit there acting like a victim when his name had been tied to more cheating scandals than anyone else in the cast. You done smashed half of Atlanta, she snapped, her voice slicing the air. And now you want to play husband of the year? Boy, stop. The audience erupted, some clapping, some gasping, some shouting. Mendeecees leaned forward, his jaw tightening. But before he could speak, Sierra Gates jumped in, calm, measured, and deadly. She reminded everyone that she herself had seen him with a married woman named Angie. Receipts ready if anyone dared to question it. The tension exploded. Yandy tried to step in, her voice trembling as she begged the cast to stop attacking her husband. But the backlash was brutal. Erica Rain stood up, her voice cutting across the stage. You've been protecting him for years, covering for him while he humiliated you. And now you want sympathy because you caught feelings for somebody else? The crowd went wild. Boos, cheers, claps all at once. Yandy's tears spilled as she clapped back that she had finally been honest. That for once she didn't want to hide in shame. But her voice was drowned out by chaos. And then came the twist. The producers, smelling blood, queued up the big screen. Brian Jameson's latest rant lit up the monitors. His voice shook as he doubled down on every claim that Yandy was manipulative, that she had destroyed his relationship, that she was selfish, that she was cheap. You wicked. He spat one last time, his face red with anger. When the lights came back on, Yandy's face was a mask of pain and heartbreak. She whispered under her breath that this was a man she once called her brother, and now he was dragging her for the world to see. But Brian wasn't the only ghost in the room. The producers had one more card to play. Suddenly, the screen shifted again to a short Instagram clip from Michael, the London fitness trainer. His calm voice echoed across the stage. Yes, I was involved with Yandy Smith. And it wasn't just once. The studio erupted. Fans in the audience covered their mouths in shock. Castmates gasped and Yandy buried her face in her hands. Across from her, Mendeecees' silence broke. He leaned forward, his voice low and dangerous. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed my family. And for what? Some trainer. His words sent chills because he didn't scream, he whispered them, and the coldness was worse than fury. That was a spark. The stage descended into a meltdown. Alexis Guy smirked as she reminded Yandy she had warned her long ago. Jessica White chimed in, claiming her niece had demissed from Mendeecees himself. Sierra Gates refused to back down. Even Spice, usually ready to crack jokes, shook her head and muttered that this wasn't just TV anymore, this was pain on display. The reunion stage was no longer a set. It was a battlefield. And then the bombshell dropped. A source close to production whispered to the hosts that Mendeecees had been spending more time with Tamara Braxton than anyone realized. Not just one rebound night, multiple outings, hotel lobbies, late night lounges. Whispers of comfort blurred into something more. When producers rolled footage of him leaving a club with Tamara, her arm in his, the entire room exploded. Gasps echoed through the audience. The cast jumped to their feet, and Yandy's tears turned into sobs. Tamar's name was officially cemented in the war. The irony hit like a slap. Mendeecees, the man who accused his wife of betrayal, was now exposed for using another woman, a vulnerable woman at that, as a pawn in his revenge. Social media erupted within minutes. The hashtag double standard ATL trended worldwide. Fans demanding answers, debating who was guilty, who was the victim, and whether loyalty meant anything at all in their marriage. By the end of the taping, there was no going back. Yandy sat in silence, broken but strangely unchained. For years, she had defended a man who never defended her. Now, with everything laid bare, the cracks were too deep to cover. Mendeecees stormed off stage, muttering that he was done, leaving Yandy under the lights with tears streaming down her face. The closing voiceover said it best: after years of being the ride or die, the loyal wife, the protector of her family's image, Yandy Smith had finally become the center of the very storm she once shielded her husband from. And as for Mendeecees Harris, his pride may have driven him to revenge, but in the process, he may have lost the only woman who carried him through scandal after scandal. The question hanging heavy in the air was simple yet haunting. After all the lies, betrayals, and humiliations, would Yandy finally choose herself, or would she, once again, try to fix what was already shattered beyond repair? Because in Atlanta, loyalty isn't just tested, it's weaponized, and this loyalty war had rewritten the meaning of love, marriage, and survival on Love and Hip Hop.